What does he do now to read? Does he still see that? Or has he learned techniques to stop it? Or how's it?
It's always about strategies. Everything is about strategies. Even with ADHD, he forgets people's names, right? He can't remember people's names, which I know is relatively common. But as an example, so he has a whole technique. If he sees someone in the street, of what he asks them to get clues as to who they are and how he would remember them. Wow. But it's strategy. And he's really brilliant at it. I think he's going to put some online, actually, because they're just simple. But you must have that, Rob, the strategies.
Yeah, so if I meet someone, I'll be...
You're incredible with names, Rob. Like, when we did live shows, you knew everyone's name in the audience the moment you come back to someone, you knew all of them.
So I can't take instruction at all. So if someone sits me down and explains, this is what we're doing today, I'm looking at them and I'm trying so hard, but it just sort of flies through my head and out.
Yeah.
Whereas if you physically show me, or there's an image of it, I can take it from that. So if I meet someone, I'll add something. So if I met Josh today, I'll be like, Josh, red and white stripe, Josh, red and white stripe, Josh. So that what I've done is put in the image of Josh, not the name of Josh. So when I think of Josh, I think of a man in that red and blue top there, sat there.
Yeah.
And that's Josh, because I've attached it to something. So for you now, I'll just think of Carol books and all the books, because there's all those Britannia books behind you, and it's quite a striking image. Yeah. So that when I'm thinking of your name, or I'll see you again, I'll see you, but then I'll see the books come behind you, as it were, in my mind when I meet you again and stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
So if I try and understand anything, I create a visual image of it, which I think's helped me in stand-up, because to try and make a joke get over the line, you're painting a picture of what you're doing and how you're doing it and stuff.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
So I paint a lot of pictures. So when I'm doing crowd work, I'll see someone and I'll get their name and I'll remember what they said and what they're wearing and where they're sat. So in a gig, it's great because they don't move.
Yeah.
I know where they are, and stuff like that. So, but a lot of mine is just coping strategies I didn't realise I was doing, that is basically winging it. So like, I don't really... If there's too much of script, when I first started in award ceremonies and I had all the auto cue, that was hard. But then I'd sometimes just talk really quick, or if I couldn't say a name properly, I'd say it quick and put a joke in at the end quickly and stuff like that. So a lot of it was sort of charming my way out of it, as opposed to directly dealing with it. But so you just have lots of different strategies and stuff. But there's so many different types of it. It's not just B&D's getting swapped round or letters missing. It's sort of the way you take in information and process it and stuff. So I
find it fascinating. Just you describing that is really fascinating, because your powers of visual memory are probably a damn sight higher than Josh's and mine.
I'm awful at names, but like in a gig situation.
Yeah.
So when we were doing the Parenting Hell gigs...
But you're just not using a strategy, but I had to use a strategy because I'd know no one's name, because I'm not listening most of the time.
Yeah, so we do the Parenting Hell gigs and Rob would bring up someone for the first half, he'd be like, well, you would say that Mary, and I'd be like, fuck, I couldn't remember that person was called Mary, for love nor money.
Yeah.
But then that's helped me in stand-up, because a lot of people go, how can you go out there without a script? I've never had a script, because I never wrote it down, and I don't write it down.
Do you write anything down?
No, nothing.
So you're about to do a new show in, say, a year or two. What does...
Yeah, so I've got notes in my phone of things that maybe... For example, I took my cats to the vets, and he went, I'm going to give him this injection. I said, what is it? He went, it's leukemia, right? And I was like, why giving it leukemia? He went, no, it's a vaccination against leukemia. If I give it to the cat, he won't have leukemia. I was like, oh, how much is that? It was like 80 quid. I went, can I have it? Just in case. Just it might work, So I'll literally have a bit of paper, cat leukemia, and I'll go out and just tell that story, and then over time I'll add to it, but it's all in my brain. I'll never write all of that out. I've got routines, 5, 6, 7 minute routines that once I start it and I'm in the rhythm of doing it, I can just remember it all.
Yeah.
But that's because I couldn't read it off very well. So I've learned to remember it and deliver it. So when I go on stage now, I went on a gig for 9 months. I had some stuff written on a bit of paper, but the gig went south as soon as I got the paper out. I'm better off in the moment, going off the energy and just trying to connect with people and stuff. And it's obviously, it's not a fully formed routine, but it's getting away little moments that I think are funny, and then I remember them. So I don't have any paper, but that's because for me, holding paper in front of people and talking is my worst nightmare. I'd rather walk out with nothing. If you said to me, I can sit in a hotel room for 5 hours now and write out a 10-minute stand-up set, or I can stand up, walk through a door, there's a room full of people, and I do that 10 minutes now, I'd take that option.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I'll go mad after 5 hours in a hotel. That would be my hell.
Yeah.
I'd say, please, I'd beg them to go on now and do it rather than wait that 5 hours.
And is that what's going on in the hotel room? No, what?
Just masturbating. After 7 wanks, he's got no energy for the gig. No, yeah. So writing something, I feel like I've got to do something. So I feel like I need to write all that out about or think about what to say. But I find that I'll just overthink it. I'll get anxious. I'll get stressed. I'll worry about it. And I do think as well, what I'm trying to achieve is a verbal medium.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking. So why would I write something down that I'm eventually going to say out loud? It never needs to hit the paper.
Yeah.
The closest I can get it from my brain to my mouth, that's the link, because it's a conversation with the audience that they don't reply to. So for me, it feels odd to write something down that's going to be said eventually.
Yeah.
You're adding a written element to something that's verbal. So, and I deliver stuff better and create better stuff when I'm excited and feel like it's fun to do. But sitting for 5 hours waiting will just take all my energy away. And yeah, that's how I work. But everyone's different, you know.
And how old are your kids, Rob?
Mine is 7 and 5, nearly 8 and 6 in a couple of months.
Have they shown any signs of dyslexia or anything like that?
Not really. They seem to be fine. My eldest is slightly a bit more anxious and not super confident. But once she gets her confidence up or with the right people, she's full of beans. So I've noticed that slightly. But no, not really. And the youngest has only just started reception, so we've not seen it fully yet. But no, not really. They sort of seem to be on it at the moment. There's nothing that's striking in that sense. But my youngest has definitely got an energy problem that I've got, where she's just like has to scream. Where my eldest has fun and messes about. But like you, I think we might have a similar thing where I'd quite like to go to an air show so I could just scream as a jet went over, just as a release.
It is fascinating though, what I find with schools, so the education system. I've written various reports about maths education, and everything comes from the universities. So they go, right, if you're going to study chemistry, you're going to study maths, obviously, or engineering or whatever. The university decides what those kids need to have studied for A-level. So that's how the A-level is set. So then they go, the A-level, right. In order to do the A-level, this is what they must study at GCSE, including all the stuff that most kids never need, trigonometry, a lot of simultaneous equations. I mean, of course you need all that if you're going to uni, but you don't need it if you're going up to age 16 and so on. So everything sort of tracks back from there. And that, I think, is fundamentally wrong, because kids are forced into doing stuff, which actually is, people say to me all the time, why do I need to know, the tangent to a circle is perpendicular to the radius? You don't.
No, I agree with you. I don't.
Well, that's something I found. So I was really good at maths, like in my head. Yeah. That was something I could do. I could still do that, sums really easily in my head. And I remember getting to GCSE and thinking that it just doesn't relate to my life at all anymore. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Despite them making it the side of a cake that I'm measuring with these two triangles, this doesn't make any sense in my life anymore. So that's when I moved into kind of artsy areas anyway, like English and stuff. But that was when I became quite kind of disinterested in it, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot, with parents. I mean, talking about parenting hell, a lot of parenting hell comes from having to teach your kids maths and using different sort of algorithms, really, different processes to find the same answer, for subtraction, for instance. So, ours used to be carry one, pay one back, we used to say, which meant 110, if you're doing a long subtraction. Whereas now there is decomposition. So they take the top number and they put a line through it and go, 8 tens will split those into 7 tens and 110 and all that. And parents go, hey, maths anyway. And now I don't even know what they're doing. And the child always goes, we don't do it like that anymore, And it becomes, I know this because like thousands and thousands of parents over the years have told me this, it becomes a hell.
Yeah. Well, luckily for me, Lou's a history teacher and I just tap out. I go, you're a teacher. You are literally, you've only did history in secondary school. I'm like, yeah, I know, but then you're closer to it than me. Come on, take this hit.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I love that you two are doing this show. I love it. I mean, and it's funny, and obviously all the things you go, oh my God, I had to go to the park. Oh my God, I had to do that. But it is a thing. And particularly, like you just said, Rob, you know, your wife had a career. Josh, the same. You know, it's like women have careers. People have houses and kids and everything. And both parents are largely full-time working now, which is, you're the first generation where that's happening.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't the case in my generation. So it was like all these things to learn, you know, new things.